Claudine is a 14-year-old girl, and her passion is the skating. She performs skateboarding professionally, and amazes everyone there. But no one ever expected a girl make such dangerous moves. Suddenly, a boy from the audience bumps into Claudine, and making her fall to the ground. Meanwhile, everyone screams after seeing her face, because she is not an ordinary girl. Claudine is a half-werewolf girl, and they all think she is a monster. They start chasing her in the forest, and calling her a monster. But Claudine uses her superpower, and climbs up a tree to hide before anyone sees her, until everyone stops looking for her. After that, she runs back home, and goes down to check on her father, who is actually a normal human. She is surprised that her father has prepared a birthday party for her, bringing her a cake and a present to make her feel happy. And it makes Claudine very happy. But then she surprises her father with a letter from Monster High School, saying that she has been accepted. This school is for people with superpowers, and Claudine thinks that she will be happy there. At first, her father strongly refuses because he is afraid for her, since she isn't a full werewolf. And this school is very strict towards normal humans, because they consider them a threat. However, Claudine tries to convince him and changes his mind. She tells him that she doesn't feel like she belongs in this human world, and can't spend her whole life running away when someone finds out her truth. Then tells him that she came home late, because they had been chasing her all day. Also, she wants to live in a place where she feels safe, without feeling threatened or scared. After that, her father is affected, and agrees to let her join the school. The next day, she is packing her bags, and her father takes her to the school address, which is in the forest. The road is abandoned, and Claudine thinks they are lost. But her father is sure that this was the right way, and tells her when he came here with her mother. Suddenly, a glowing tunnel appeared, and Claudine is very happy. She takes her bags from her father, and continues to the school alone. But her father warns her not to reveal that she is a half-werewolf, because they will expel her from the school. Then, she walks through the glowing tunnel for a while, until she reaches the school building. She is amazed by its size, because it looks like a palace or a castle from the Middle Ages. At the school, all the students and teachers are monsters from various myths and legends. Like Dracula, he also brings his daughter Draculor to the school, and tells her to be clever like him. Then, the principal talks to Mr. Komos about the students, especially a student named Deuce. Deuce is a new student in the school, and is the grandson of Medusa. But he has snake hair that can turn anyone who looks directly into his eyes, into a stone statue. And the principal warns Deuce that she is watching him, and tells him not to cause any trouble. Because of this, Deuce wears an ice cap and special glasses on his eyes all time. When the principal sees Dracula, she welcomes him and talks to him. But Dracula tells her that there are human magical practices being performed at the school, and they need to find out who is behind these practices, to protect their children. Meanwhile, Claudine is walking in the school hallway, and looking for her room. Then asks her colleague Gulia for help. She tells Claudine to ask the teacher, and she will guide her because the school has hidden rooms. Suddenly, a door appears on the wall in front of her, and Claudine enters her room. She then meets Frankie, the daughter of Frankenstein, and knows that Frankie and Draculora will be her roommates. Draculora warns them not to touch the coffin she sleeps in, and not to bring anything that contains garlic into the room. They then divide the room, each one knows their boundaries, and Draculora goes back into her coffin to sleep. When Claudine is taking her clothes, she sees a picture of her father, and remembers his words about keeping her secret. So, she puts the picture back in her bag quickly, before anyone finds out that she is half-human. The next day is the first day of school. Claudine and Frankie become friends, and go to look for their lockers. Then, a student named Cleo bullies Frankie, and makes fun of her. But Claudine stops Cleo. Meanwhile, Deuce watches them from afar. He goes to talk to Claudine, encouraging her to stand up to Cleo, and tells her that Cleo is a rude character, and thinks she is better than everyone. So, Deuce warns her, and they get to know each other. Suddenly, Claudine hears the principal telling her to go to her office, and she goes to find out what is happening. But the principal tells her that she wants to welcome her personally, and offers her the role of school ambassador at the upcoming annual party. This is because her late mother was friends with most of the other monster families. But the principal is surprised, because Claudine didn't mention any details about her father in her application to join the school. She gets nervous and lies to the principal, telling her that he is French and a full werewolf. Meanwhile, Claudine notices that her claws have disappeared, and her hands have become completely normal like the rest humans. She fears that the principal will expose her, and runs to the bathroom to see herself in the mirror. However, she comes back to her normal self, without understanding the reason for this sudden change. After she walks out of the bathroom, a sentence is written on the wall, saying "Expel the enemy." As if the school is alive, and is watching everyone. Claudine then runs to find Frankie, because she has information about everything, and asks her about the sudden change that can turn monsters into humans. But Frankie tells her that it is a temporary condition caused by fear. Later in class, Mr. Komos tells them about the school's history, and how the school is only for full monsters. Also, mentions that there was a half-monster student in the school, but he was expelled from the school, and killed by humans when they discovered his truth. And his name was Hyde. After class, Claudine asks Mr. Komos for more details about Hyde. He tells her that this student had created a magical potion that could turn him into a full monster. But unfortunately, before he could use it, he was expelled from the school. And the potion is still in a secret laboratory in the school, but no one has been able to find it. Then, Claudine goes to the library to search for old books about this story. There, she finds old notes about Hyde, but as soon as she opens them, she feels someone is watching her in the library, and the lights keep turning off and on. So, Claudine is terrified and turns into a human, and her werewolf ears disappear from her purple hair. At that moment, she is surprised by Frankie in front of her, and Claudine tells her about the story and her truth. When Frankie sees the notes of Hyde, she discovers that they are written in a coded language. But Frankie manages to understand it, and they find the location of the secret laboratory. Then they mark it on the school map, which turns out to be in an abandoned area outside the school building. And although this area is forbidden for everyone to enter, they agree to go there at night. Meanwhile, the principal and Mr. Komos are trying to erase the sentence written in blood on the walls, and they think that one of the students wrote this sentence. In the evening, Claudine and Frankie are in their room waiting for everyone to go to sleep, so that they can go out and search for the secret laboratory. They discover its location, but they need to find its key. Then, they feel like someone is in the place, and they see their colleague Draculaura while preparing magical potions. When Draculaura sees them, she asks them to keep her secret, and this is because it is forbidden for monsters or vampires to practice magic, because it is a human practice. Frankie and Claudine promise her to keep her secret, and encourage her to do what she loves. At that moment, Claudine tells her about her secret, and why she came to the laboratory. After that, the three girls try to open the lab door, but they can't. So, they ask Draculaura for making a magical trick to open it. But they need specific ingredients for the potion, and they go back to the school to get these ingredients. A shadow then moves toward the door, as if a mysterious monster is waiting for them to open the lab. The next day, the girls start collecting the recipe's ingredients, including an ogre's bone, and Claudine remembers that the principal has a jar of ogre's bones in her office. So, they agree to take a small piece from there. While Draculaura and Frankie distract the principal, Claudine enters the office. But Cleo enters the office to leave a report for the principal. When Draculaura notices that, she casts a spell on Claudine to look like the principal. Claudine takes advantage of this and shouts at Cleo, ordering her to treat her classmates better and stop bullying them. After that, Claudine and her friends go out of the office. Then, the principal calls her and reminds her to prepare the speech she will give at the upcoming celebration. But Claudine tells her that she will surprise her. Later, she returns to her room, and finds Draculaura talking to her father through a large picture of him, not a phone like the others. They tell each other that they are happy to find a place where they can behave naturally. But when they gather again to review the remaining ingredients for the magic potion, they discover that they need snake venom. And Claudine knows where to get it. She goes to see Deuce, and asks him for snake venom from his hair. He agrees to help Claudine without even knowing why she needs it. After that, the three girls go to try the magic potion, but it doesn't work. Then, they return to the school, but the principal and Mr. Komos punish Draculaura for practicing magic after Cleo tells them about it. Meanwhile, the walls of the school scream, and a statue on the wall almost falls on Cleo, but Claudine saves her at the last moment. Due to the punishment that the principal gave Draculaura, Claudine feels guilty, and decides to leave the school. The next morning, while she sits next to a playground in the city. She is surprised that Draculaura and Frankie come to bring her back to the school and encourage her not to give up. Claudine feels worried and tense, and transforms back into a human again. So, she starts walking away, but fell to the ground, and they notice that her handprint is the same as the one on the secret lab door. They then convince her to return with them, and try to open the door again. And when Claudine tries to open the door with her human handprint, it opens. And they find that it is actually the tomb of one of the monsters. But there is a secret door that opens when they step on the eye of the statue on the tomb, and they enter the secret laboratory. Claudine finds Hyde's potion that will turn her into a full monster. But she hesitates before drinking it, because she will erase all her human identity and memories with her father. At this moment, Mr. Komos appears, and it is clear that he is the mysterious shadow who was following them from the beginning. He prevents Claudine from taking the potion, saying that she doesn't need it, and that he knows a better way for her not to feel lonely, and to live her life naturally as she wants. But he is actually deceiving her, because he wants to take the potion and drink it himself. On top of that, he is half human, and wants to transform into a full monster to destroy the school. We find out that he is Hyde's son, and that he wants to take revenge on the school that expelled his father. Then, go out to the human world to take revenge because they killed his father. The potion takes effect, he becomes a strong monster. Also, the potion that gives him extraordinary power makes him absorb the power of other monsters. So, he absorbs Draculaura's power, causing her to fall to the ground because she became weak. The girls manage to save their friend, and Frankie distracts Mr. Komos by causing an explosion in front of him. They manage to trap him inside the tomb, and they call Cleo to help them. Meanwhile, the founders of the school arrive at the celebration party, and all parents sit together including Dracula and the principal. Cleo enters and tells them to go to the abandoned area quickly. A large group of students arrives there to help Claudine and her friends. When Mr. Komos breaks the door, everyone is surprised by his terrifying appearance. He then attacks Claudine, but Deuce defends her, tries to turn him into stone. However, Mr. Komos knows his power and closes his eyes, then absorbs Deuce's power and turns him into a stone statue. Claudine runs to check on Deuce, but unfortunately, she can't control her fear and turns back into a normal human. Cleo tells Claudine that this is her only chance to beat him, because she can get close to him as a human. Claudine gets close to him, and makes him look at his reflection in the phone, and he turns into a stone statue. Then, the magical power that was taken from Dracula and Deuce returns to them again. At this moment, the principal and Dracula find out what happened, and Claudine tells them the truth. The next day, they call her father, and for the first time, a human enters the school. Meanwhile, Claudine thinks that she will be expelled, and will have to leave the school. But she is surprised when the principal welcomes her as a student, and the principal tells Claudine that her mother is definitely proud of her, and of what she did. Thanks for watching, take care, and see you in the next video.
Back in my bag and I gotta brag, I do this shit for real. When we was down and we had nothing, we had to share a meal. We put the shit in overdrive with no steering wheel.